Yeah, so as you can see there in that photo, my parents also came to visit me, and that was in May. So my brother and sister had come to visit me in January of 2018, and this was May of 2018, and significantly cooler at that time of year in Buenos Aires, which was like totally necessary for my mom because she is not a heat worshiper like the rest of us. She would not be able to tolerate January in Buenos Aires. So May was perfect for them. You got to remember January for us in Buenos Aires is summer, and June for us in Buenos Aires is winter. So different than the opposite of what we have here in Canada. So yeah, I was like super proud of my parents first of all because it's like their first time outside of North America in 44 years. So that's I mean Buenos Aires isn't exactly the the safest spot to go to if it's your first time outside of North America in 44 years. Not in terms of being pickpocketed or anything like that, but just Buenos Aires is kind of like a lively, busy city. They could have done something a lot easier, maybe something in Europe. But so they did amazingly well. And like same with my brother and sister, I kind of played the tour guide. Very similar routes as I did with Carmen and Maria, and I was super impressed with my parents for being able to keep up because like obviously they're much older than Carmen and Maria. And yeah, it's not 35 degrees in May in Buenos Aires, but they did like a really good job of getting through it all, like as if it's like a slug off. But no, they seem to really enjoy it too. I couldn't be there for all of it though in May because in January, like when my brother and sister came, I wasn't working in the institute. I just had my business classes and my private classes, so much more chill schedule. But when my parents came, I was working full time. So a lot of times, like I'd try to catch up with them for a walk or something like that. But other days, I would just give them the maps and the instructions on how to use the subway and all that, which is quite complicated as well in Buenos Aires if you've never done it. But they did awesome, so that was cool. And like when I could play tour guide, of course, I went to the Chacarita cemetery, which I always talk about. It's the best place in Buenos Aires. Like I might say the ecological reserve is the biggest green space, but Chacarita is like my favorite spot in the city. And actually, Martin, the son of IH, he thinks so too, which is strange. So yeah, I'm going to show you some footage of like the underground in Buenos Aires in the Chacarita cemetery because I've never shown you that before. And I don't know what my fascination is. I think like when you talk about those like mythological spaces that aren't really real, they're like something that either got left behind or forgotten or abandoned. The cemetery there, the subsuelo, the underground is like that. There's hardly anyone down there. It's actually a real danger risk. Like we wouldn't let that fly in North America. They'd have security everywhere or they'd close it off because like it's literally like a recipe for disaster down there. Like either someone's gonna get mugged or killed or something. But maybe their culture is different. Maybe they have more respect for the cemeteries and that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's like a space, this massive space built by man that obviously connects to that sort of like sacred realm from the church, like death and the mystery of all that. But like nobody's down there. And so you're in this like man-made universe that's kind of decaying and falling apart. And like no one's there. So for your like mind, even though you're in the center of the city, because you're kind of hidden from it all in your own little world, it's existing on the periphery of the society, even though it's right in the center. Anyway, it's hard to explain, but you definitely have that mythological connection to it. And it's probably my main draw to it. Anyway, so apart from all that, ecological reserve, I took them there. Gorgeous. I talked about from BBVA, the tower, where I worked at downtown, the high building. You can see the ecological reserve. It's the biggest green space actually in the city. Although Chacarita Cemetery is close, but again, nobody goes there. It's not considered a green space. It's a cemetery. So ecological reserve was awesome. And actually, my mom and dad also went to like museums and stuff as well. And one of those was the CCK, which is like it's been turned into a cultural center, like a big giant museum with lots of live music and whatnot. But it used to be the formal post office for Buenos Aires, so it's this massive building. So yeah, we went there. And like in terms of the CCK as well, I said they have music, but it's like all free. So basically, you go online, you reserve your ticket, and you can go for free, which is incredible. Argentina has really weird things like so the hospitals are free, the university's free, and not just for Argentinians, for everybody. So it's like they don't have the best economy, but everything's free. Well, not everything, but a lot of things are free access that wouldn't be free access in any other part of the world. So yeah, so I went to lots of concerts, and that was another interesting thing that started to happen after the sort of explorations of summer, the Salamone trip and all of that. I switched from my routine of going to like underground concerts with like sort of young people, artistic, weird type stuff, into going to, I guess I wouldn't say classier, but classier venues like the CCK, and going to like the weird avant-garde jazz stuff at those types of situations, which I love. Like I would have loved it before, I love it now, I would have always loved that kind of music, but the setting was like, not like, okay, first band plays at 1 in the morning and you get home at 7 a.m. It wasn't like that, and it wasn't some scuzzy little like basement type thing. I mean, this was like a very nice auditorium. And so, like, what was the reason for my shift? That was very interesting because I pretty much stopped going to the underground concerts. And I think there was a couple things. One, you could say, okay, I'd seen almost all the bands. Like, up until that point, so I'd been in Buenos Aires up to that point for probably like 2.5 years or 3 years almost. I'd probably been to like literally a concert every week, sometimes 2 concerts a week. So it's not like I've seen all the bands, but I've just done it so much, seen so many bands so many times. That's one thing. The other thing is like vampire mode. Like I was mentioning with their food, the Porteños eat super late. The concerts start super late, and literally you get home at like 7 a.m. And like, that's just not my vibe, man, because that throws away the whole next day. So I was kind of like done with that. Also, I don't like going out at midnight. I'd rather go to 8, and then if it lasts till 4 in the morning, great, but I don't want to wait till midnight to go out. Like, so there was a little bit of that. The other thing it could have been, like, I guess, was just, like I mentioned on the Silent Money trip, I was confronting a lot of sort of my myths and stuff like that, even though maybe I wasn't processing that way at that time. Maybe like, yeah, I just kind of lost like that myth, or I moved beyond that myth. I moved beyond that sacred pillar of like that being something that like was my thing. Also, could have just been getting older. I mean, at this point I was like almost 38 or turning 38, and a lot of kids at the shows are in their 20s, and I don't necessarily think I looked like way out of place, but I don't know, it's a different vibe. So I started switching my concert venues, and yeah, that was interesting. The other thing that happened in that same period there, sort of towards the end of summer and moving into the time my parents showed up, is I have always been obsessed with music. Like I love music, and I've always kept track, like been right on the cutting edge with like all the underground music that's happening, whether it's rap, electronic, metal, punk. I'm like on that cusp, like keeping up with it, literally putting in like at least an hour every day to keep up with this, like all the new songs coming out. And oddly enough, at this time of year, like that April period in 2018, just like in April of 2017, April 2017, I stopped using Facebook, or stopped really being involved with Facebook, following all my people outside of Latin America. In 2018, I pretty much like stopped keeping up with music. I wasn't like, I'm going to stop, or I should stop. It just kind of happened. I got busy, and I stopped. And, you know, it kind of bothered me. It still bothers me a little bit right now. Because, like, yeah, a lot of my friends have fallen off. They have the music they like, but they're not on the cutting edge of what's really happening. It's just natural as we get older. But I remember my dad always telling us growing up, like, always being like, yep, I stopped listening to music in 1972. And it's like, no, he didn't. He still listened to music, but his obsession with music, or keeping up with music, had stopped in 1972. And he just kind of got stuck there. Heard a couple things after that, but that's like, that's his line, right? And I was like, I do not want that to be my line, like, at all. Like, I want to always keep up. So even to this point right here, like, every once in a while I'll go on the blogs and look at it, but I'm not on my game anymore of, like, being caught up. And I kind of hope I get it back, but it might also be a sign of something that was once, like, this sort of, like, very static, stuck church for me frame. Maybe I'm, like, leaving that. I don't know. That's hard to say. But I do kind of want to keep up with music, so whatever. Anyway, as I was mentioning, my dad stopped listening to music in 1972, back to the parents. They stayed until the middle of May, just past my birthday, and it was awesome to see them. Like, they did so well, and, like, yeah, it was really cool.